Alright guys, so a little bit, first things first, a history of this place, where you are, so you know this holy place. We did it here because Kiki wanted you guys to experience one of the holy spots of Tzfat. This is probably the holiest spot in Tzfat. This is called the Al-Sheikh synagogue, that of Moshe Al-Sheikh. This was his place. Most people say that it was built before he was here, but he was here in the time of the Arizal in the golden age of Tzfat. And this place actually was called the Kehilat Balei Tshuva, the community of Balei Tshuva, the people that were trying to connect to Hashem. Why were they called Balei Tshuva? Because in the time of the Inquisition, when they were kicked out of Spain, they tried to stay in Spain as conversos, and they lived like Christians, and they, which is obviously a sur, you're not allowed to do that. And then at a certain point, they tried to come back, and they made it to Eretz Yisrael, and they wanted to work on themselves and to come back to Torah and Mitzvot. And this is where they were learning, this is where they were doing everything. And Rav Moshe Al-Sheikh was their rabbi. He was known for his speeches and talking and going deeper and deeper into Torah. The Arizal would come listen to him. Rav Shlomo Al-Kabetz that wrote Lechat Odi would come listen to him. All of the tzaddikim of that time, Rav Yosef Karo, all of them would come here to hear Rav Moshe Al-Sheikh speak. As you see, there's no women's section. Why? Because this was originally built to be a Beit Midrash, a place for just learning. It wasn't a synagogue, so they never made a women's section because women weren't coming to the Beit Midrash to learn. A lot of crazy things have happened over the past 600 years in this place, of people that tried to touch it and they left this world. So the place is very holy. We try to keep it exactly how it is. Usually women are not allowed in here, so it's a big zchut that the rabbi let us do this. There was actually a group here. Avshi taught a group of women from Mexico, not so long, maybe some of your mothers, I don't know, but a few months ago here. And Baruch Hashem, we have the zchut to be here, so it's a very, very, very holy place. And shortly about myself, just so you know, some of you girls got to meet me and come to my house, but my name is Eliyahu Pereira. I'm originally from Miami. My dad is Brazilian, my mom is English. I lived in 5 different countries before being able to come to Eretz Yisrael when I was 17 years old. And I've been here ever since, 13 years. I'm 30 now. I'm married with a beautiful baby girl and a beautiful wife as well, Baruch Hashem. And I live here in Tzfat. And yeah, I've been in Israel for 13 years. I haven't been in Tzfat the whole entire time. I've lived all around. I've been religious, not religious, a lot of money, not a lot of money. Baruch Hashem, Hashem has shown me a lot of things for me to be able to choose to live the life that I'm living right now, trying my best to be in the books and to be in these holy places and to be connected as much as possible. We had an amazing meal, and that's why we're having this class, right? Because that meal led to this. And I asked my rabbi, what should we talk about? What do I talk to 18-year-old, 19-year-old girls about? What am I meant to say? So he said that one of the hardest things that we experience in our generation is that we don't believe in ourselves. We don't believe in who we are, and we don't believe that we can do good. We don't believe that we are good. We don't believe that we deserve good things. So there's only one teaching that's the medicine for all of that. There's many, but there's one that's above all, and that's inside Likutei Moran, which is a book of Rabbi Nachman of Breslov. And it's the 282nd teaching inside the book. Reish Pei Bet, it's a very, very famous teaching. Either people call it Reish Pei Bet, which is 282, or they call it Azamra, to sing. So, B'ezrat Hashem will go in. If you ever have questions, anything, feel free, stop me. I'm here for you completely, right? So, it starts like this. Da, no. Ki tzarich ledun et kol adam lechaf zchut. You have to judge everybody favorably. You have to judge them in the right way. Meaning, people tell you don't judge people. No, you have to judge people. You have to judge them right. Even a person who's completely against the Torah. You have to seek inside of him even a little bit of good. In that little bit of good, he's not bad there. There he's good. By way of finding in that person there a little bit of good, and you judge him favorably, you judge him according to the good that you found inside of him. By way of that, you can actually start to help him to do good. You take him out of the bad place and you judge him favorably, you see good inside of him, you start to make him more good. You can even make that person do tshuva and to return to Hashem and start to live a good life just by finding the good inside of him and judging that person properly. And this is the aspect of what's said in Tehillim, ve'od me'at ve'en rasha v'itbonant al mekomo ve'enenu. David HaMelech says in Tehillim, a little bit more, ve'en rasha, he's not going to be wicked. You look at his place and he's not there. Meaning, you saw him as a wicked person. You find a little bit of good inside of him. Now you look back at where you originally saw that person, he's not there anymore. You already moved him to the side of good. You already, by looking at him and finding good inside of him, you take him out of the bad place and you put him in a good place. This pasuk is teaching us that we have to judge people favorably. We have to judge people in a good way. Even though you see the person is completely wicked, they don't have anything good. It seems like it. It looks like they're completely bad people. Even though it's the case, the person looks like a bad person, a wicked person, you have an obligation to look, to ask for it, to seek, to do every type of way to find a little bit of good in that person. And that's the aspect of ve'od me'at ve'en rasha. A little bit more, od me'at, find a little bit of good, ve'en rasha. Now he's no longer bad. You have to look for that little bit that he still has inside of him. That little bit of good that he still has inside of him. That there, eno rasha. In that place, he's good. He does that thing nicely, he does that thing well. There, he's not a bad person. Even if a person is completely bad, it's not possible that he has no good. Every human being does some good in their life. By way of finding a little bit more good inside that person, that he's not a bad person there, and you judge him according to the good that you find inside of him, by way of this, you start to elevate the person up and up and up and up from the side of being what's called a bad person. Now he deserves punishment, he's a wicked person. You start to move him into the side of he's a good person and he deserves good. And he can even make tshuva and come back to Hashem because of this. And this is what it means, ve'od me'at ve'en rasha. By way of finding inside the rasha, by way of finding inside the bad person, a little bit of good, od me'at, a little bit, that he's not a bad person, v'itbonant al mekomo. Now when you look at his place that you originally saw him in, you thought he was bad, you look back at that place, he's not there anymore. By way of finding a nekuda tova, one little good point. A nekuda is just a dot, right? A little piece. Pedazo, right? You say? A little piece. He's there, he's good, he's completely good. You can find him, you judge him by way of that, you take him out of the bad side and you put him in the good side. We have to understand that, so too, very nice, Rabbi Nachman's smart. He teaches us, judge everybody favorably, look at the other person, find the good. But now comes the bomba. That you have to do this to yourself as well. You have to do this to yourself. Because it's known that a person has to be very, very, very careful. Liyot besimcha tamid. You have to constantly be in a state of joy. We talked about the table, right? You cannot fall to depression, into sadness. You have to constantly be happy. To push away sadness and depression a lot. You have to push it away a lot. And even when you start to now, you're going to look inside yourself. You're going to see, there's nothing good here. You look inside your own self and you can't find anything good. And you're filled with sins. You're filled with bad things. Again, Rabbi Nachman's talking to Hasidim. He's talking to people that are all day long doing Avodat Hashem. He's not talking to people that are disconnected from the Torah. In his time, he was giving this lesson in front of people that are all keeping Shabbat, all keeping the Torah on the highest level possible. And this is how he's talking. Even more so for us, right? So you look at yourself and you see that you're filled with sin, you're filled with bad. The Satan, the Yetzer Hara, he's coming and he wants to push you down. That you're only going to find bad, and he wants you now to get depressed. Because you look and you don't see anything good. So who am I? I'm just this bad person? Chas v'shalom. Asur lo lipol mizeh. You cannot fall because of this. רק צריך לחפש ולמצוא בעצמו איזה מהטוב. You have to find out inside yourself a little bit of good. Find a little bit of good. כי איך אפשר שלא עשה מימיו איזה מצווה או דבר טוב? How is it possible that in your life you never did a mitzvah? You never did anything good for anybody else? For Hashem? For no one? You were wicked every day for your whole entire life? It's impossible. ואף שמתחיל להסתכל באותו הדבר טוב. Baruch Hashem, finally you found a mitzvah. You did that one thing, you lit candles, whatever it was, you did a mitzvah, you found something good. You start to look at that good thing and you see it's filled with bad. Even in the good thing that you did, why did you do it? Because that one, because this, to make my parents happy. There was all these different ulterior motives of why you did that good thing. So even the good thing is filled with bad. הוא גם כן מלא פניות ומחשבות זרות ופגמים הרבה. עם כל זה, איך אפשר שלא יהיה באותו מצווה והדבר שבקדושה איזה מהטוב? How is it possible that you did a mitzvah, for whatever reason you did the mitzvah, and the mitzvah doesn't have a mitzvah inside of it, doesn't have a little bit of good inside of it? A mitzvah is a mitzvah. If you give someone tzedakah, you gave someone tzedakah. It doesn't matter why you did it, you did something good. You have to find that good point that's inside of there. כי על כל פנים איכשהו, על כל פנים, איזה נקודה טובה במצווה הדבר טוב שעשה. There has to be a little bit of good inside that thing. If you did a good thing, it's a good thing. That means there's good there. כי צריך האדם לחפש ולבקש למצוא בעצמו איזה מהטוב. You have to request from Hashem, please Hashem, help me find the good. Help me find this little bit of good that's inside there. Why? כדי להחיות את עצמו. To give yourself life. To give yourself vitality so that you can continue to go. But לבוא לידי שמחה. So that you can use that thing to now be happy, to now come to happiness. And by way of seeking it inside of yourself, looking for a little bit, עוד מעט טוב. על ידי זה הוא יוצא באמת מכף חובה לכף זכות. By way of this, now you, for yourself, you stop looking at yourself as this bad person that deserves Gehenom and punishments and all these bad things, and you start to put yourself in Gan Eden. You start to put yourself in the side of good. And now you're able to do tshuva, which is the aspect of ועוד מעט ואין רשע והתבוננת על ממקומו ואיננו. A little bit more good that you find inside yourself. Now when you go back to when you started to look for the things and you saw that you were all bad, you were completely resha, you're not there anymore. Why? Because you started to find good. You started to find good things. We have to judge other people favorably, even the reshaim, and we have to find good points inside of them. And by way of finding the good points, we take them into a better place. So too, you have to do this for yourself. You have to judge yourself favorably. You have to know that you're good. You have to know that you're filled with good. And to find inside yourself nikudot tovot, little good points where you're still good there. So that you can strengthen yourself, so that you don't fall completely. If you don't do this, then naturally we're going to go through life thinking we're bad, we're bad, we're bad, we're bad, we're bad. And we're going to just keep going down and down and down. More depression, more depression. Chas v'shalom. רק אדרבה, יחיה את עצמו. Bring yourself life, bring yourself more, and וישמח את נפשו במעט טוב שמוצא בעצמו. Make yourself happy by the little bit of good that you still find inside yourself. And again, obviously, we're filled with good. But he's saying, even from a little bit of good, you have to make yourself happy. So even more so when you really contemplate how much good you've really done. And this is not that you have to look at last week or yesterday. 18 years of doing good. 18 years of find every single piece that you can. If you ever feel bad, you feel bad about yourself, go back and start to look, and you're going to see that you have treasures and treasures, rooms filled with gold. And you have to use these things in order to make yourself happy. Whatever you merited to do throughout your whole entire life, a mitzvah or something good for another person, so too you have to look for more and more and more and more. And even though that thing is completely filled up with other things, other reasons, I did it because of that, I did it for him, for her, for this, for that, to get more honor, to do this, to get that job, whatever, it doesn't matter. There's good there. And when you find that nikudat tova, you start to gather all of the nikudot together, all those little pieces together. And by way of this, you can make nigunim. You can make songs. All the little good points, you can make songs from them. Which is minagen bechli zemer, to play music with an instrument. Because why? Meaning you think it's all bad and you seek out the good, right? You're looking for the good. You're not looking for the bad. The bad is easy to find. You don't need to look so much, right? It's there. But when you start to take out the good from it, now when you take the good, you're collecting only the good, right? You take more good, more good, more good as this mitzvah, this mitzvah, this mitzvah. What is music? Simply. Anybody here play music?
Notes.
Notes. What are notes? It's a sound. And when you don't have a note, you don't have sound. So what is music? It's a bunch of good points within no points. So when you look at yourself, you see nothing good. And then you start to find a little bit of good. Every little bit of good is a note. When you take that all together, now you have a song. And holy music is very, very high. Holy music is very, very high. And what is holy music? It's taking the good from the bad. And by way of taking and clarifying all the good out of the bad, now you can make music. And it doesn't let you to go down. Music elevates us. It makes us feel better. Holy music is meant to elevate us and make us feel good. And then you start to bring yourself some light because of that. Because of all of the good points that you collected, and you took the good from the bad. And by way of this, we can make music, and then you can come to pray to Hashem, and to sing to Hashem, and to say, thank you, Hashem. When you're depressed, you can't do any of that. You just want to be inside your bed. You want to eat and take and not do anything, and just not leave bed, right? You don't want to talk to anybody, for sure not to Hashem, right? Not even more so to your family or to anybody, to any of your friends. You don't want to do anything. If in that moment you're able to go inside and to start to take a little bit of these goods and that you find, then you can start to lift yourself out of the physicality, out of the bed. Out of the bed in Hebrew is mitah, right? Death is also mitah. It's spelled differently, but it sounds the same way. Mitah, mitah, right? When you're able to get yourself out of the bed, when you're able to get out of the physicality of this world, that you see that you don't have mitzvot, you don't have all this spirituality, you're completely filled up with this world and yourself and negativity, right? Then all of a sudden you start to make a song. How do you make the song though? By looking in yourself and judging yourself favorably, finding all the good points, and you say, that thing there was good. I did that good thing, I have to give myself credit. I did that good thing, I have to give myself credit. That good thing, I give myself credit. More and more and more, and now you're starting to collect these points, and then you can come to pray to Hashem because you're filled with so much songs. When you're depressed, you can't even open your mouth because of so much heaviness that comes upon you. But when you start to see that really you're filled with good, and you use this advice that we're just giving, that Rabbi Nachman gave us, then you start to be able to get out of it. Then you're able to lift yourself up, and you realize that yes, you might be far, 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 far from the truth. You might be far away from Hashem, so to say, but you have so much good. And that good can bring you closer and closer and closer. It can bring you life. It can make you happy. And when you're happy, then for sure it's fitting that a person should increase his happiness. Happiness is good, and we want more. So you seek out more, you start to look for more good, and you start to find more good, and more good, and more good, and more good. And now you have a song. Now you can bring yourself light, and you can pray to Hashem, which is the highest level of life, when you know that you can connect to the source of life. And then you can sing to Hashem and you can praise. And this is what it says, Azamra le'elokai be'odi. I will sing to Hashem be'odi, with my little bit more. You have to seek out od me'at, right? Od me'at v'itbonant al mekomo ve'enenu. A little bit more, you look at the wicked person and he's not there. What's the little bit more? Azamra le'elokai be'odi. I will sing to Hashem with my little bit more. Meaning all the little bit of good that I find inside of myself. You couldn't find it before, you thought you were wicked. Now you start to find the good and you realize, this little bit more, I can make a song. A little bit more, azamra daika, I can sing specifically, I can make songs because I have all these good points. Rabbi Nachman gave us the advice that we have to walk with this Torah for a long, long, long time. He said that you should take, here and there, he told the students, take a certain teaching. There's hundreds of teachings in here, nearly 1,000 teachings in here. Rabbi Nachman would say, take one and go with it for months. This one, he said, this is like life. This is the one that has to always be here in the back of your head. How important music is, how important it is to sing to Hashem, and to realize that we all find bad. Bad is so easy to find in other people and in ourselves. But if we understood how powerful our thoughts were, that by way of looking at a person and seeing the good inside of them, that we can change them. We can change a person just by looking at them in a good way. And even more so for ourselves. If we're down and if we're down, it's because we think about ourselves that we're down. Only we can make ourselves feel like that. Right? Because you don't think that you're good enough. You don't think that you're worthy. You think that you're completely bad, so you don't want to get out of bed. If you're able to really look at yourself and judge yourself favorably, then you can get out of all of the bad. And the teaching goes on to a whole bunch of different points to teach us that a shaliach tzibur, a chazan, is the kind of person that can look at everybody and see the good. That's why he can stand in front of Hashem and represent everybody in the minyan, everybody in the Beit Knesset, because he's the one that can look at the congregation and find all of the good, and then all the good starts to want to come to him, and now he can sing to Hashem for everybody. But we have to be that for ourselves. We have to represent our own selves. And we have to be the musicians that make the song. And what's the song? Looking for more good, and holding it. Every small thing that you do that's good in this world, you should be very happy about it. It's not a small thing to do a small thing of good. A little bit of good can change the whole entire world. There's people that just because someone smiled to them, they didn't kill themselves. We all know stories like this, right? One person woke up in the morning and he decided, today is my last day on earth. I'm going to end my life today. And he went and someone held the door for him and said, hey man, how are you doing? And just that simple thing, the guy had no idea what he was doing. He just saved the person. Now he goes and he has children, he gets married, this. Now you have generations and generations coming from what? From one smile. So even more so, how much we have to do this with ourselves so that we don't kill ourselves spiritually. We have to bring light to us. So B'ezrat Hashem, it's a little bit of teaching, but we have more time. If you guys have questions, if you want to do like we did at the house and go off topic, B'simcha Rabbah, whatever you guys want. I'm here for you.
Thank you.
B'simcha Rabbah. You can ask in Spanish, we'll translate it. We've been through this. There's some people here with experience.
Okay, so I feel like, I don't know, but everything that we do is selfish. There's no good deed that it's not selfish. It's good to, okay, I don't know, you understand?
Yeah, 100%.
Like if I do something, like if I help another person, it's selfish because I feel good that I helped him. So it's not good because it's selfish.
That's exactly what we're saying. That it is good. He knows. Rabbi Nachman says, you're going to look for the things that you did, and the things that you did are filled with bad. What's the bad? Just to be completely black and white, yes, we're not meant to be selfish. But we are individuals in this world of multiplicity. And you come into the world by yourself, and you leave the world by yourself. You're only going to be taking care of yourself. But the question is, how much is it just for you? Or how much do you realize that that your goal is not to be, you don't do the good thing completely for yourself, right? There's good. There's inherent good. The Arizal talks about the intentions for Elul, which really Elul, the month before Tishrei, the month before Rosh Hashana, is just preparation for everything we're going through now. Rosh Hashana, Yom Kippur, and Sukkot. And he says there that there's two, it's very deep Kabbalistic intentions, but you can break it down simply to understand. He says that there's two names of Hashem that we have to contemplate on in Elul, three names, but we have to unify all of them. It's called Hanoten Beyam Darech, he who puts a path in the sea. All of those words add up to different Kabbalistic intentions and names on Hashem. But it's like this. One name of Hashem is Yud Kei Vav Kei, right? Havaya, that name up there on the top of the poster, right? The 4 letters above Victoria's head. Yud Kei Vav Kei in the middle in the black, right? That is the name that teaches us Haya Hove Vehiyeh. It was, it is, and it will be. It's all Hashem. Hashem does everything. He's the only one that's doing anything. Everything good is only from Hashem. Only Hashem. It's all Hashem. Ein od milvado. There's nothing besides Hashem. On the other hand, we have a different name. Maybe I can find it here somewhere. I can't, but it's the name of Aleph, and then the letter He, and then the letter Yud, and the letter He. When Moshe Rabbeinu says, what am I going to tell Am Yisrael? Who's talking to me? Hashem says, Ehyeh asher ehyeh. Ehyeh is the name, but in that context we can say it. When we're saying in the name of Hashem, we shouldn't say it. But in that context, it's, I will be as I will be. Meaning, if we're to take it away from Hashem and onto us, I will be means there's an I. I exist, and I want to be something. That is the opposite of everything is just Hashem, everything's Hashem, everything's Hashem. The Arizal says, in our life, when we come to do something in this world, that's the world of action. We were put in the world of action. Hashem put us here. He knows that He put us here to do things, right? When we come to do things in this world, we have to unify both of these realities onto our actions. Meaning, I'm going to go do something for someone else. On one hand, I contemplate that Hashem is really the being that's doing it. On the other hand, I'm the vehicle that He's doing it through. So yes, I'm doing, because I want to connect to Hashem. I want to reveal Hashem in the world, right? But it's not because I want that person to give me respect, or I want this. No, I want to be a tool for Hashem. That's where the I should be. That anything that I do in my life is in order so that I will be a tool for Hashem in this world. Not that I will get recognition. I don't want the recognition. I just want to be connected to Hashem. And if Hashem is now giving me 100 shekel and I have the ability to give tzedakah, it's not that I gave tzedakah. I was the tool of Hashem in the world to give tzedakah. It helps a little bit? So when we look at ourselves, like Rabbi Nachman says, you're going to look at your mitzvot and you're going to see a lot of bad. Because we all know that we do things very selfishly, right? Whether it was for honor, if I help this person out, I'm going to get that job, or this, or that guy's going to see me, or this, whatever the calculations that we can do. But in the end of the day, if we're doing good, you're doing good. And that is where we have to put our focus. Because if you don't put your focus on the good, you see the bad, but not only that you see the bad, what are you really looking at? What is the bad in the conversation between good and bad? The good is Torah and mitzvot and Hashem, and the bad is me, my ego. So if you're always looking at the bad, that means you're always looking at ego, which means it's all about you. You're always looking at yourself. So you're still stuck in ego. If that's what you want to see, that's not good. I think it's like we said, right? That a person who says, I'm nothing, I'm nothing, I'm nothing, and the person that says, I'm everything, it's the exact same thing. They're both filled with ego. Just one is too positive and one is too negative, which they're both negative, right? But two extremes. So we have to be real with ourselves and we have to be aligned to, yes, we're here to do good things, and there's ego in everything. In Ashlag, in the Torah of Ashlag, which is a different Kabbalistic Hasidic path, they say, Haratzon lekabel al manat lashpia. In order to, I want, the highest level is to be able to receive. Why though? In order to give over. We all want to receive, but there's the people that receive just to receive. And then there's the person who's willing to receive. He understands he's important enough to receive something, but it's only to give it over. Right? That's where we should be trying to get to. That I'm willing, because if you say I'm not willing to receive, you're still dealing with ego. It's low self-esteem. But if you say, I will take, I'll receive from you, Hashem, but only to continue to give over, then that's already a very high level. They're holy birds, don't worry.
Tipo, algo como lo que le pregunté del que dije, del Sidur, que si no le identificas
Okay.
No,
She's asking that.
Not her.
Okay.
Everybody. Yeah?
Sometimes when you're praying, like when you open the Sidur, there's people that don't connect to Hashem just by
What's written.
reading, because we don't understand what we're reading. We're just reading. Sometimes we connect in a different way to Hashem. Eh?
Aunque lo lea en español.
Even in Spanish.
Even in Spanish, because sometimes we read in Spanish.
It's a very high level of Spanish.
Yes.
Yes, it's
So,
like a
no, we
different
don't like
connect.
connect with God by reading.
Like the words they translated exactly as they are, so it's like
No, not just that. Sometimes you understand, but you just don't.
It's
connect
not your
with it.
words.
Yes, you don't connect.
So there's two sides to this. And it's not just you, it's tons of people, even if they're religious and they've been saying these words all their life, right? The rabbis, when they made the Siddur, inside of the group of people, the group of rabbis that made the Siddur, inside of them were prophets. Some of them, a few of them were prophets. So 120 men of the great assembly, some of them were actual prophets, right? So the words that they put together, it's not just the words that we see there. There's letters, look, you see that board there? How many different, there's tons of letters there that don't even make sense, right? Why? They're names of Hashem, they're different things, there's secrets beyond just, it's like math, right? You have permutations and different calculations and multiplication and all these different things that they set up a way that there's secrets by the first letter of every word, the gematria, this, that, and the other. So there is a special importance to saying what's in the Siddur, but it's not enough. Rabbi Nachman has specifically talked about this, and it's not Rabbi Nachman who invented Hitbodedut. David HaMelech, the book of Tehillim, is completely David HaMelech's personal prayer to Hashem, from his heart. He wrote it down, and now we can all say it. And the king of Israel, when he writes something, the king has the whole entire nation inside his heart. So David HaMelech's words are all of our words. Rabbi Nachman has a whole thing, there's a lot to this, right? But Rabbi Nachman has a whole thing on Tehillim, and a whole thing about the Psalms, that you have to find yourself inside the words. So how am I meant to find myself? That David HaMelech is talking about a war with an army and enemies that are coming to kill him. I'm not in an army, I'm not in a war. So he says that's your war against the Yetzer Hara. That's your war against the evil, negative voice inside yourself and all the negative spirituality in the world. And then if someone asked him, okay, but David HaMelech also says, guard my soul because I'm a chassid. Not chassid, chassidut. Chassid in the Torah means a person who's very, very, very holy. So he says, I can say that to Hashem, guard me because I'm super, super holy. I can't say that. David HaMelech could say that. I can't say that. Rabbi Nachman said, just like we learned right now, there's certain aspects in your life that you are a chassid. There's certain aspects in your life that you are very, very good. That's enough to say to Hashem, guard me because I'm good. Right? Like we said, we have to find the good that we're good, that there we're completely good. So that's Tehillim. Tehillim, as a Jewish woman, whether you feel it or not, I promise you that if you start to invest in Tehillim, your heart will open up to Tehillim. Why? Because you're not the first Jewish woman that's going to open the book. For 3,000 years, it's been working for all Jewish women, right? It's just a matter of getting used to it. Now there's another level that's higher than that, and that's called Hitbodedut. Exactly what Tehillim was, but from your words. In Spanish, your Spanish, not the book Spanish. Your Spanish, right? Like you're talking to them, you talk to Hashem. And you use your own words. When you do that, Rabbi Nachman explains that it's a weapon that the Yetzer Hara doesn't know. The Yetzer Hara knows the Amidah. For thousands of years, he's known the Amidah. He knows when a Jew's going to come say it. He knows all the secrets that we don't know. He knows the Rashi Tevot, the Sofet Tevot, the Gematria. He knows all of that stuff. When you open your mouth to talk to Hashem in your own language, whatever is most comfortable for you, and you tell Him about everything you're going through. Thank you, Hashem, for bringing me to Tzfat for a week. It was amazing. I loved it. But it sucked that I got sick, and it was hard for me. and this, and it was too hot, and it was this and that. Everything. Talk to him about everything. The Yetzer Hara can't put an ambush there. He can't attack that tefillah. He can't affect it. Why? Because he doesn't know. He's not used to it. It's brand new. And every time you come to talk to Hashem, it's brand new. It's from your heart. You're a different person every time you open your mouth. So yes, on the one hand, as a woman, you're not obligated to pray from the Siddur 3 times a day. Maybe once. It's a good, very good practice. And when you do that, then you have to tap into the belief of there were prophets of Am Yisrael that made these words. I know that they knew what they were talking about. I'm leaning on them right now. And I don't connect to it. But I know that saying this is good for my neshama. It's good for the whole entire world. But it's not enough. And as a woman, you have immense, 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 immense power to open your own mouth and to speak to Hashem from your own heart. Every Jew has this power. Jewish women is like a nuclear bomb. No tzaddik could even come close to the prayer of you as a woman, you individually, you specifically, right? No tzaddik could do that. And then you also have Tehillim, which Tehillim was written by David HaMelech. It's his own personal Yitbodedut. And as the king of Israel, not just the prophet, the king of Israel and the tzaddik of all about music, all about finding the good in everybody, when you start to say his words, it's really your words. You have to find yourself inside his words. And it's much easier to do that than to find yourself inside the Siddur. Again, even with the high Spanish, try to break it down to, you understand the words, it's just not comfortable to say those words, right? Because no one speaks like that. Even in English you have this problem. Everybody has this problem with translation. And even in the Hebrew. But when you maybe take a book that has an explanation in Tehillim in Spanish, a rabbi that broke it down, what is Tehillim, and start to learn it a little bit more, it's work. It's not an easy thing to do. But with time, it will open up for you. So you have one, just saying the Amidah because you know it's holy and it has to work, even if you don't connect to it, but it's for sure good. Then you have Tehillim, which is, it's a little bit of work, but much easier to find yourself inside the words of David HaMelech. And then the most powerful is you opening your mouth and talking to Hashem from the depths of your heart about everything you're going through. Is that Hashem? I hope that helps.